This is Support is Sexy, episode 524, with Kelly Parker Smith, founder of Hello World Paper Company. Welcome to Support is Sexy. I'm your host, Elayne Fluker, entrepreneur, author, and founder of Chic Rebellion Media. 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, I bring you inspiring women entrepreneurs who share their wins and lessons to help you take your business to the next level. Here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Support is Sexy. I'm happy to have you here. You know, it just would not be the same without you. And if you are a woman entrepreneur who is looking to step into the spotlight, to share your expertise with more and more people, to tell people about your business, your services, all the things you have to offer, you must consider podcast guesting. Podcast guesting is one of the best ways to spread the message about your business and reach thousands of people all around the world. Now, if you haven't done it before, you need some pointers, or you just want to find out more about why podcast guesting is great for women entrepreneurs, just download my free guide at girlonpodcastgift.com, a free guide on how to be an unforgettable podcast guest. girlonpodcastgift.com. Now, today I am super excited to welcome our guest, Kelly Parker Smith. Kelly is the founder and creator of Hello World Paper Company. Now, if you are interested in, or you thought about, or you're just curious about, as I was, Etsy and how to create a business on Etsy, how to be successful at it, how to do it, the ins and outs, the secrets, then you must listen to this episode with Kelly. Kelly's company, Hello World Paper Company, started on Etsy in 2009. And to date, she has had over 19,000 sales and sold more than $600,000 just on Etsy. She now has her own website, of course, hellopaperworldco.com, and she talks to us more about that and expanding beyond Etsy. But she still sells her products on Etsy because they've built a great business there. She has a great community there. But on this episode, she shares how you can do that as well. 3 things you must know about Etsy, how to market your business from Etsy and get people to your shop. Also, insider secrets on how to name your products, how to do the descriptions, a lot of different things that you might not think about. Or even if you already have an Etsy shop, we talk about things that might be great pointers for you. You might do these 1 or 2 little things, might help your business take off. And I want you to listen out to my selfish question in this episode, how Kelly manages email. I am fascinated. I asked her to show us her ways, and she does that in this episode. All right, so I know you're going to enjoy it. Without further ado, Kelly Parker Smith. So Kelly, thank you so much for joining us for an episode of Support is Sexy. I'm excited to chat with you.
I'm excited too. I love coming on podcasts and talking about this stuff. So super excited.
Excellent, because I have a lot of questions.
Good.
So our first one is, when did you first fall in love with entrepreneurship?
Well, I mean, honestly, I'd have to say when I caught the bug was when I started selling stuff on Etsy. So for me, it wasn't like, I was this little kid with a lemonade stand. It wasn't really like that. I always wanted to be, I really just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom when I was younger. I just really knew I wanted to be a mom. And I knew I'd be really good at it. And so teaching kind of worked its way in there. And then all of a sudden I started selling things on Etsy, and it just kind of exploded after that. And then I was hooked. Forget it. It was over. Now I have like 3 businesses now. It's like cereal,
How did you know when you were younger or what made you feel like you'd be a good mom? Why were you focused on being a mom?
Kids are like attracted to me like magnets. They just always I've always been comfortable around them. They've always just shared the world with me. And I just always love how innocent they are and how they could just like talk your ear off about anything, unicorns, firefighters, whatever. And I don't know. It's just the other day I went over to my cousin's house and I jumped in the pool and all my cousin's kids were over there, and it was like literally they all just attacked me.
Right. You just,
and I just, I don't know what it is. It's just, I guess, I don't know. I get kind of nervous around adults. I'm not really, it's funny that I teach adults, but I was just always really comfortable around little kids.
Some people have that childlike, in a good way, childlike energy. I used to
Yeah.
work with a woman like that. Kids just, babies, anyone just loved her.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Babies, they'll like seek me out at restaurants,
Right.
stare at me from across the room and like wave. And I'm like, oh, you're so cute. And then their parents are like, oh, you're so great. Cause everyone else is looking at us like we're annoying, you know, where I'm just like, oh, they're like the other day, this girl was just screaming in the booth, you know, and she was like 6 months old. And the parents looked around like, oh my God. And I'm like, oh, she found her voice. That's so awesome.
Right.
You know?
Like you're the only one that thinks.
Yeah. I am. I really am.
How would you describe yourself as a young person?
I was pretty quiet. I mean, I had, you know, a lot of friends, but I never really felt like I fit into one certain place. So I just kind of had a bunch of people that more like acquaintances, you know. Growing up, I always thought I had like the best friend, you know, but my best friend probably had another best friend. And, you know, I just always, I don't know, I was just a nice kid. I just liked being around other kids and just being myself. And usually that meant reading books under a tree or, you know, I didn't really get too crazy or, you know, I wasn't really boisterous until I went to college. I don't know who I was then. That was a different story.
Right. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in right outside St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay. Did you go to school around there too?
Yeah, Belleville, Illinois. Yep.
Okay. Excellent.
I grew up in Catholic schools.
Oh, in Catholic schools. Okay. I did too, even though I wasn't Catholic, but I went to Catholic schools. It was quite interesting. That's
a whole nother show.
Right. So then what drew you to teaching? Was it just something you studied in school? Because you mentioned you thought at first you'd be a stay-at-home mom, but was it the children, being around children again?
Well, the funny story is the first time I went to college, because I went 3 times. The first time I went to college, my first degree was in radio and television marketing. And I just didn't like it. I did it for like 2 or 3 years and I thought no. And then I had a kid and I was like, I just want to have the same schedule as him. You know, I didn't like working long hours. I didn't like doing that stuff. And I always wanted to be a teacher, but everyone said, you know, they don't get paid any money, and they don't. Still true. But when I was younger, I was focused on I have to make money because I want to have a family and I want to provide for them and all this stuff. And so I didn't seek out being a teacher when I was younger. But then once I had a kid, I was like, this is perfect for a mom. You know, this is the perfect job for a mom. Right. And I was a single mom. And so I was like, this is perfect for me. When he's off, I'll be off. We'll have summers together, you know, that sort of thing. And it worked out really well for about 10 years. And then I kind of got burnt out. I was working at inner city school. It was very taxing. So like working there for 10 years was kind of like working for 30 years. The kids were amazing. The kids stole my heart, but all the other stuff that came with it, you know, all the politics and
which is
mandates.
Unfortunate, which is why a lot of teachers get burned out. You know, of course, it's a lot to deal with a lot of children, but usually, like you said, the kids have your heart, but everything is so much to deal. I have friends who are teachers and principals.
Yeah, it's tough. It's really tough. And you know, all you want to do is get in there and make them feel safe and make them feel loved and teach them everything that you can. But there are so many restrictions, and now it's not fun anymore. Well, at least it wasn't for me. I'm glad that there are other people that are still doing it well. You know?
Right, that's right. So God bless teachers. So when you got to year 10, then is that when you decided I need to do something else? Or what was the transition like for you into, as you said, selling things on Etsy and see what will happen? Or was that before you left teaching?
That was before I left. So it took me 5 years to quit teaching. So I started it on Etsy as like a hobby in 2009. Like, believe it or not, I had, you know, 2 kids, my husband, I had since gotten married and he had a kid too. And then, you know, I had that, I was going for my master's degree and I was bored. I don't know why I was bored. I'm just one of those people that can't sit still. Like I had to always be doing something, reading a book, drawing, something. And I was bored. And so I was like, okay, well, I was really into scrapbooking and making cards and that sort of thing for friends and family. And they were like, you should list these online. You should open a little shop. And I heard of Etsy. And Etsy had just started maybe a year or 2 before I got on. And I heard of Etsy and I just listed a bunch of cards. And my mother-in-law was my first customer. And it kind of went from there. I did all the stuff for my wedding in 2009. And people wanted to buy things for me. They loved what I was doing. And it just started snowballing. And then by 2014, I had to make a decision because I was burning the candle at both ends. I was working all day. I was working all night. I was working before work. I was working on my lunch break. And I had to make a decision because as a teacher, you have to put in your notice if you're not going to return the next school year before you sign a contract. And so my husband was like, it's now or you have to wait a whole another year. And I was like, I don't think I can wait another year. I think I'm ready. And he's like, do it. Just do it. And we were not in any position for me to quit my job. Let me just say that.
What do you think it was that made him say, do it, just do it? Do you think it was your passion that he saw or how well he saw it growing? Or what do you think? Or just him wanting to support you?
I think it was a mix of everything. He really wanted to support me, but he also saw how miserable I was at my job, which was 35 minutes. It was a 35-minute drive there and back. And my whole goal as a teacher was to beat all my kids' stuff, but I couldn't take off for field trips. They would have a parent night. We would have a parent night. So I couldn't be at their parent night. So it seemed to almost be the opposite of what I really wanted. And so I was just, and by then we had a third child. And so he was little. He was only like 1.5. And all I wanted to do was be with him. And my husband was like, you have to try this. Right now you're doing it part-time. Imagine if you could commit to full-time. Like how much growth would you see? You can do this. And I was like, oh my God, okay. I think I'm going to do it. And he's like, okay, here we go. And he was totally supportive the entire time. It was amazing.
That's amazing. So now tell everyone what you first started off making and where your company, Hello World Paper Company, is now.
Yeah, so I first started off doing handmade cards, which didn't last very long. It wasn't very good.
Because, okay.
Yeah, no, it wasn't.
You graduated quickly from that.
Yeah, very quickly. And at my wedding, I have Crohn's disease. So at my wedding, we gave back to the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation. And we made these like charity favor cards for each place setting. And this was before giving back to charity was cool, And we gave everyone like a ribbon lapel pin that everyone wore throughout the night. And it was really cool. And so I listed those in my shop and they went crazy. And so people just started buying them. I was giving back to weddings all over the world. They would buy from me. They would get their lapel pin. I'd make their card. I'd stick them all on, send them to them, and then I'd give back to their charity, whatever they chose. And so it just went crazy. And so then I started doing other little things for weddings. I started doing birthday invitations for kids, that sort of thing. And that's what started growing. But it wasn't until January of 2014 where it stopped being a hobby and I actually started making money. Because in January of 2014, I started making rubber stamps. And that is our sole, not our sole income, but our biggest seller now is rubber stamps. And so we do like address stamps, logo stamps for businesses.
So like custom rubber stamps.
Right, custom. Yeah, we do packaging stamps, like all kinds of stuff. And we have our own laser engraver now. And so we're also doing like laser cut items, so like wood cut items for weddings and that sort of thing. And it's all just grown from there. So that was in January 2014. And by April 2014, I was like, I got to quit.
Wow. So what was it about? Well, congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
What was it about? What was it about the rubber stamps you think that really took off, that made them different? Did you all have a certain kind of design or?
I just love fonts, and so I started really playing with them. And I think our stamps were unique. They weren't basic. They weren't, anyone can go online and get a custom stamp, right? But they're very kind of businessy, and we made them fun,
right?
We made people excited about stamping mail.
And that's such a great point because people, we get excited about those kinds of things. You don't think, and then it helps your business take off. Just finding the thing that makes you different.
Yeah, and the coolest thing was we do a lot for new home buyers, and that is like their first official thing that they buy for their new house. They're like, oh, yeah, we're so official now, and they are so happy. So, yeah.
I would think for new businesses too, right? Brick and mortar businesses.
Absolutely. Yes.
Now, going back a little bit, why did Etsy feel like the right choice for you when you first started? Or was that just because it was just a good option in general, as opposed to like an eBay or something else that was out there?
Yeah, honestly, I was really attracted to like the handmade aspect of it because at the time I was literally making everything by hand. And also it was cheap. So it was 20 cents to set up your first listing. That's it. 20 cents. 20 cents to list something, and then when you sold something, they take a percentage, which I was like, okay, well, I don't think I'm going to sell anything anyway. Let's just see how this goes.
Nothing to lose.
Right. So 20 cents, big deal. And it was fun. And there was a community there of other sellers that I interacted with, that I've met some great friends. And so I really enjoyed that aspect of it as well.
So tell us where the business is now that it's, well, technically you started in 2009, right? But 2014 is when you left. So almost 10 years overall. Where is your business now, and what do you think has been the key to your continued growth?
So now we are 2 full-time employees. So I actually pulled my best friend away from teaching as well. I said, I'll match your salary, come work for me. Because I got to the point again where I was up all night working, up early, like it was crazy. I wasn't seeing my family, and I was like, this is not why I quit my job, you know? So I was like, I will give up part of my salary to have my life back. And so I begged her to come work for me. So she put in her notice at her school, and now she works for me full time. So it's us. And then I have a handful of contract employees that help us with like PR, social media, you know, that sort of thing. And now we do manufacturing for other companies as well. So we were able to get our own laser engraving machine last March 2017. And so now not only do we produce laser engraved goodies for ourselves, but we produce laser engraved goodies for other businesses as well. So that has really broadened our horizons for sure.
And are the rubber stamps still the thing that are the most popular? I can't remember if you said, I know you said that helped you explode, but, or is it kind of changing now that you've added other services?
Rubber stamps are still the most popular. People get like giddy over them. It's hilarious. I love it. I love it. You would think like snail mail is kind of going out the window, but I think there's a really big movement to kind of keep it intact and bring it back. So
I think so too. Really handwritten notes, and it's fun. I think the pendulum always swings, right? It goes all the way.
Exactly.
No one wants to do that, and then people are like, "I miss handwritten notes."
Yes.
Stamps. Yes. So, do you still have your shop set up on Etsy, or I know you have your own website, obviously, but do you still have the Etsy shop too, or did you sort of graduate from that?
No, we still have it. I mean, the people are there. It'd kind of be silly for us to leave.
Right.
We don't direct people there per se. We direct everyone to our online shop, but it's kind of silly to leave. You know, we've had over 19,000 sales there. And so, we're not leaving anytime soon.
Right. And the website, of course, I'll have links to it for everyone listening, but in case you're not driving and you want to take a look, helloworldpaperco.com. helloworldpaperco.com. Make sure I get that right. There you go. Yeah. All right. So then for the women listening who are women entrepreneurs, mostly who either starting their business in the early stages or they're reinventing, and they might be thinking about creating their own shop on Etsy, what would you say are 3 must-know things or maybe must-do things that they should know?
Oh, yeah. I could give you 10. I mean, oh my God. There's so much. There's so much. First of all, 100% Etsy is what you put into it. So you cannot just go there, slap up a couple listings, and just let them sit and be like, I don't know why anyone's buying anything. So you have to work it. You have to be on there. You have to be on social media. You have to be marketing yourself. Maybe do an in-person event and then, market your shop. But you have to be pushing people there. So in the beginning. So not only will Etsy bring in people, and if you do, your set up your listings correctly, Etsy will bring you people, but you have to be working it as well. So Etsy loves activity. So listing new items, having conversations with people, because Etsy has their own email system, which they call convos. So you can have convos with people. You could be liking people's stuff, doing all sorts of things. Etsy just loves activity. So keep active. Be on there every day. We're on there every single day.
Just making sure you're engaged, and like you said, other people's shops. Okay, answering questions, obviously.
Yes, and also don't rely on Etsy alone. So don't put all your eggs in one basket. It's a great place to start, but make sure that you're also diversifying your business so that everything can thrive at one time. So make sure you have a website. Go get your domain. Even if it points to your Etsy shop in the beginning, that's fine. But just make sure that you're getting all these things and, lining up all your ducks in a row so you're not putting everything into one place. I also recommend, like I said, in-person events. You could teach classes, all of those types of things once you get rolling.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned also from a promotion standpoint, was social media the main way that you would drive people to your Etsy shop in the beginning, or other things?
In the beginning, it was really like once I got on Etsy, you really have to kind of work their system. So they have like a title. They have like 140 something characters in a title. And say you're selling jewelry, like people will name it like the Annabelle necklace. Well, no one's searching for the Annabelle necklace. Mm-hmm. So you have to know, first of all, you have to know your audience, and you have to know what they might type in to search for your product. So for example, for us, our listings are usually called like rubber stamp or custom address stamp, things like that. And so instead of like the Mitchell address stamp, we don't name our products that kind of stuff on Etsy. And then also in your tags, you can do 13 tags on Etsy. So you want to make sure that those are also searchable keywords that people would type in, because otherwise they're not going to find you. Right.
And a lot of it is through search.
Yes. It's a powerful search engine, Etsy. For sure.
So things like you mentioned, the Annabelle necklace or whatever it is, those are kind of things that people can put in the description, but in the title.
Correct.
Right? It should be okay.
Or maybe at the end of your title. Like if you need it for your purposes. So if someone orders something and you want to know exactly what they've ordered. So like we number all of our stuff. Mm-hmm. So it might be address stamp number 141. That's going to be at the end just for our purposes. They also have SKU numbers. So you could also use the SKU number system on Etsy too. So you could just put in some random number your customers are never going to see, but you'll know what it means to be able to determine what that item is that they bought. But I highly recommend generic titles because that's how people find you.
What would you say if there was something that you wish other than things you've already told us, but if there's something you wish someone told you before you started or when you started your Etsy shop, what's something that you would say you definitely want to know X?
I would definitely say that you cannot please everyone. So in the retail space in general, whether you have a brick and mortar shop, an Etsy shop, an online shop, you will never be able to please everyone with your product. So sometimes you're going to get a bad review, or sometimes, things aren't going to work for whatever project someone wants to do. So for example, we sell rubber stamps. Sometimes someone wants to do this project and they think a rubber stamp is going to be their answer, but it ends up not working for the project for whatever reason. Don't take it personally. If they're like, this didn't work for me, I don't like it. Everyone is different. There are millions of people buying from you and searching your website every day, and you're not the perfect fit for everyone. And sometimes it takes them buying something, not liking it. It's okay. It's okay. I used to cry. When people would email me and be like, this doesn't work for me, or I don't like this, or this was wrong, or whatever. I used to get so upset. But when you're dealing with all these people every day, you're not going to be able to please everyone. That's just the way it works.
That's good in all business to know that. But in the beginning, it feels like they're rejecting my baby.
Absolutely. Right? Yes. I remember one time I cried for like 3 hours.
Oh.
And then it was over and I was like, that was such a waste of energy.
Mm-hmm. Did you try to fix it though too? Because I think sometimes we can, I won't say go too far, but I know it's you're trying to make it work and say it's perfect for the project, as opposed to, oh, I'm sorry, it didn't work for you, and moving on.
Yeah, no, this one was beyond help.
Right.
This was a rare case. Right. Like rare.
Maybe needed those 3 hours of tears.
Yeah, I needed this was a rare one. So yeah, but after that I was like, I am never gonna let someone take this from me again. And so I will go back to all the positive reviews that we have, and I just start reading those, because for every one negative review, you're gonna get hundreds, if not thousands, of positive reviews.
Right.
And so you just have to go and read those and just be okay with the fact that that one person didn't like you. It's okay.
It's okay. Now, you also have an Etsy action plan course coming up. Is it already out or is it coming up?
It's out.
It's out in the
It's
world.
out, and we are actually in the process of updating it because I don't know if you know this, but Etsy has done like some crazy updates in the last 6 months.
No.
And so we are updating our course to reflect all of those updates, and it will be completely updated soon. So if you want to get in at the unupdated price, now would be the time.
So where do we go to find out about the course? Is that just on your website on the main page?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
So tell everyone what kind of things they can look for in the course. I'm sure anyone listening who is interested in Etsy definitely wants to know more from you.
Oh, yeah. The Etsy action plan is all about building a foundation for your shop. So it's essentially everything I wish I would have known at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
It has like over 4 hours of video, and I take you behind the scenes of my own shop. I did not make a fake shop to take you through. It's my shop. It's my numbers. It's my listings. It's everything that I've done from the beginning to get to over 19,000 sales and over $600,000 sold on Etsy alone. And so I just spill everything. I spill it all. Shipping, listings, everything. Everything awesome. You need to know. And it's not just for new Etsy shop owners. It's also for someone who may have been on Etsy a while, but they're kind of stuck. You know, that person that just like, like you set it up super fast and you just wanted to get going, and now you've been going for a little bit, but you're kind of like, oh, I'm kind of stuck now. I don't know if I did everything right. This would be a great place for you too.
It sounds like too that even if someone who feels like they're doing well on Etsy, I mean, you've done 19,000 sales and like you said, $600,000 just on Etsy. So there might, I always, even if I think things are going well, if I see other entrepreneurs who I feel like are doing something great too, you never know what kind of tips you're going to get.
Yeah, it's amazing sometimes. Like I'll have people email me and they'll be like, I did not know about XYZ.
Right.
And I'm like, really? Right. We do it so long we forget. Mm-hmm. That people may not know everything. So that's why I did the video style, like screen share style, so that while I was going through it, things would jog my memory and I'd be like, oh yeah, by the way, you want to do this. You want to be able to copy your listings. Don't recreate the wheel every time. Like you don't have to do it over every single time. That was a big one for people. There's a copy button. If you're an Etsy seller, there's a copy button.
There's a copy button. So I like too that you're actually showing your actual site. Like you said, you didn't really set up a fake site. You're showing what you really did to create this.
Yeah, because especially with like stats and, all Etsy shows like all kinds of things, like how many people come from Pinterest, how many people come from Instagram, like that kind of stuff. And if I would have just like made a fake one, it would have been boring. Right. It wouldn't have been as interesting to see like the ups and downs of a regular shop, because we have downs too. There are slow seasons and there are peak seasons. I think everything in retail is like that.
Mm-hmm. What has been, since you mentioned social media, what have you found has been best for you, or either for Etsy shops in general, since you have that experience, or best for you as far as driving people to your Etsy shop? Pinterest, Instagram, something else?
Both of those. So number one, Pinterest is the number one referrer to my Etsy shop. Mm-hmm. And then Instagram follows. I also get involved with some local Facebook groups, like local handmade Facebook groups. Those have been good for us too. People post and they're like, where can I get a stamp? And then here we are. Mm-hmm. And then once you get to know people start referring you. But honestly, the biggest referrer to our shop is word of mouth and great customer service. Mm-hmm. And so, it's people telling other people about our products and, people tagging us on social media. We have a little social media card that goes in with every order, and it says like, please tag us online. Please follow us on Instagram. Here's our hashtag, whatever. You can put that in every single order that you package. That is like one thing I see a lot of Etsy shop owners doing is that they're only putting their business card in there. Right. So if your business card has all that information on it, great. But I have like a business card and we have a little social media card. Like, we'd love if you spread the word about us. And that has helped tremendously. We get repeat customers all the time too. So good customer service.
Yeah, that's a nice touch too. Now, speaking about that, is that with fulfillment, are you still, not you personally, but is you and your partner or employee and other people that work with you doing all of the fulfillment, or have you now farmed that out to someone else?
No, we're doing it all right here.
I love it.
Yeah, it's super fun. Yeah, we love it. It's super fun. Like, I mean, it's a laser. Like, who doesn't want to play with a laser all day? I do.
Do you ever think about the time spent doing it though, or no, because it's fun?
Not really, because it's kind of like, you just press go and you don't really have to do anything else with it until it's done. The setup and the designing part's my favorite. So just having the machine here that we can do it at any time is great. And, it saves us money instead of outsourcing.
Right.
So
and I
that's
guess
been good too.
People aren't expecting things overnight because it is something usually custom.
Right. Right.
Excellent.
Exactly. Yeah. We're not Amazon.
Right. That's what, yeah, exactly.
we're two chicks and a laser.
Exactly. You're not going to just have an Elayne Fluker rubber stamp sitting around.
Right.
No.
Exactly.
Now, you recently launched another business, Creative Biz Rebellion, and a podcast too, right?
Yes.
Yes, to help other entrepreneurs launching their products, as you talked about some with your course. But what made you decide to teach what you know now? Is that sort of a full circle moment for you as a teacher?
Oh, definitely. I kept getting the bug. So the teaching bug never leaves you. And it really doesn't matter who you're teaching. So, I mean, kids are great. They're my favorite. But I started getting people asking me, like, how did you grow your business? How are you so successful on Etsy? Can you help me? And I couldn't help everyone individually. I just didn't have the time. I have 3 kids and they're really important to me. And my husband, I want to spend as much time with them as possible. So my hours, I keep a very tight ship around here. I do not work weekends. I do not work at night. And so taking on something else, I wanted it to be, easily. I wanted to easily fit into my lifestyle. And so I have a co-host on the podcast, Caroline Hull, and we met in the Society for Creative Founders group. And we were like, I would love to have a podcast. And she was like, I would love to have a podcast. And I was like, oh, well, maybe we should have one together. And so it just started. And now it's been 2 years. We're almost at our 100th episode because we only do ours once a week. Thank you. And you're like 5 days a week. So you're,
crazy
you're
person.
Like rocking it. Yeah.
Totally crazy.
Totally nuts. Totally nuts. But yeah, so we're only 1 day a week, but we really love it. It's our little baby, and we have a small but mighty little group of product-based business owners who come along for the journey. And I just love helping them.
Excellent. So I will make sure, everyone, that I link to it, the Creative Biz Rebellion. And also you mentioned the Society for Creative Founders group. Is that an open group or open meaning anyone can apply, or is it?
It's actually a conference.
Conference. Okay.
Yeah. It's an amazing conference. It's for like product-based businesses or calligraphers, hand letters. It's a great conference. I did it online actually because I'm such an introvert. Back in the day, I didn't want to go. I didn't want to travel anywhere. But I know a lot of people who've done it in person too, and it's just amazing. And then once you're a part of the community, the connections that you make are awesome.
Fantastic. So I will make sure I link to that too. Very good.
Awesome.
So you mentioned that you also are very disciplined about not working on weekends or certain hours, et cetera. So how does that work for you being a business owner with a growing, obviously thriving business? Is it just those are deal breaker isn't the words, but you just make sure that you don't do those things? Is there ever any struggle not to do weekends and after hours?
There's a little struggle. Not going to lie. There's a little struggle. I do design some on the weekends. So, I just love drawing, and then I come up with stamp designs and that sort of stuff. So the fun stuff I'll do on the weekends, but I don't make any appointments. I don't fulfill orders, that sort of thing. I used to, and it became very taxing. And so I was realizing that I was just going down this terrible spiral of working 24/7. As a business owner, especially working from home, you feel like your brain never turns off. You're always thinking about your business. But I really wanted to turn that off. And I was like, the only way I'm going to do that is if I have open communication with my customers and let them know, like, hey, this is what's happening. I don't work after 3:00 when I pick up my kids. And so we're just very open about that. Even when you email me, it says, I only answer emails on Mondays and Thursdays.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, Kelly. Yeah. I forgot to write that question down. Yeah. I meant to share. That's so funny. I promise you, I intended to be like, wait a minute. How?
Ow.
Tell me. Ow. Teach me your ways. I meant to say, how do you, okay, so everyone, just so you know, I interrupted you, sorry, because I was so excited.
No, I like it. No, I like the excitement.
But so you only answer email. You have a reply message that comes back that says, I only answer emails Monday and Thursday, right?
Yes.
how do you do that? First of all, is that again just discipline? And then tell us about your customer. I was blown away and just like wanted to bow down at your feet. But but as someone who works with customers, just for everyone listening who does that and might even be afraid, this fear some of us have, and I've had this, where you're going to miss something if you're not on email every second, right? So how did that work for you? How did you get to that place?
Well, I got to that place because I was going to pull my hair out because my email became my to-do list. Mm-hmm. And that's not something that I wanted. I am a designer. I'm an artist at heart, and I just wanted to do that first. And so I was like, I have to take care of my business and my current customers. And yes, there's customers in my email box, and I'm not saying I don't want to take care of them. I do. But I have to prioritize what's going on in my life and my business world, And so I was like, maybe if I put a limit on when I go to email. Now, if I have availability on Wednesday, don't get me wrong, I might check my email. Mm-hmm. But I need that expectation to be there where it's going to be Monday or Thursday when I get back to you. Now, if it's Wednesday, then okay, great. You got it early. Right. But I need that expectation to be there because I don't want my email to dictate my workday. And so on Mondays, I come in, I figured Monday was a good day because it's the first day back from the weekend. So whatever's there from the weekend, because I don't touch my email on the weekend. Whatever's back from the weekend, I'll take care of that. And then it's, Tuesday and Wednesday, we try to, we fulfill orders. I design new things. We're doing PR, we're doing social media, all that good stuff. And then on Thursday, I'm like, okay, check back in, make sure. And now if there's something pressing, like if someone emails me and they're like, I need a stamp ASAP, or this is super urgent. Okay, I'm going to take a look at it and see if we can fit it in on Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not like, it's not that I never look at it. It's just, I know the pressure is off of me to answer that immediately.
The expectations.
Right. And it's working out really well. And I've had so many people like respond back with, I love this. Can I copy it?
Right. Oh my, that's why I'm asking questions.
Yeah. And I'm like, of course you can copy it. Please. I want your life to be easier too.
Now, how do you, let me see. Do you not read emails on Tuesday? When I know you respond Mondays and Thursdays, but do you try also, I know you don't do weekends, but do you try also not to really look at emails on Tuesday and Wednesday? Or is it just? But
let's be honest, that's really hard.
You're going to peek, right? Even me on the weekends, I peek, but I say I'm not going to respond.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Money coming through there.
Yeah, I mean that's when I might find like a stamp emergency, and I'm not being silly; those actually happen. Mm-hmm. And so I might find a stamp emergency, or there might be someone that's like a dream partnership. Right, that could happen on a Wednesday. They don't say that for Monday and Thursday. Right. And so, then you want to jump on that. And that's okay. It's okay to peak. But it's just the whole point of the pressure being off. Mm-hmm. I don't have to deal with this right now. That's on the agenda for Thursday.
You got to try that. Everyone, I challenge you to try it. I'm definitely going to try it. I've been doing the weekends, but those 2 day a week, because email can be, as everyone knows, so overwhelming. Sometimes you can spend, last question. Do you spend a certain amount of time on Monday and Thursday checking email? Because email could be a full-time job.
Oh, 100%.
Right.
One thing about email that I've learned is I do not check it first thing in the morning, even on Monday and Thursday.
So that sets your day.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Again, the to-do list, that is your email. It's crazy. So I will check it. I work out at 9:30 in the morning. I go to a class. I break up my day by doing that. And so when I come home from that, that's when I check my email on Mondays and Thursdays. So around 10:30, 11 o'clock. And then I will go through it until all the pressing issues are done. So if there's something that I signed up for, like an article, or maybe there's a webinar or something, you can leave that stuff alone until it actually happens. But if there's any order issues or anything like that, that is done that day until I'm done. And then also with our manufacturing partners, so companies that use us for laser engraving services, we have Slack for them. So they don't even have to deal with email. So they are filtered through a whole nother system. So they have Slack because as our manufacturing partners, we want to give them the best customer service possible. So if you work with us, then you won't even have to go through our email. You can just send us a direct message.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing all of that. But also for everyone listening who is trying to think, maybe they're trying to think through this. How would I do that without email on these days? If I have people that I definitely need to be in touch with, there are other tools like Slack, which I use too, where and I think it's better because then things don't get lost in your email.
Correct.
Right. Okay. Got
Yes.
it. Excellent. Thank you for indulging me on that.
Oh, absolutely.
So glad you mentioned it. So what would you say that entrepreneurship has taught you about yourself as a woman?
Ooh, this is a good one. I would definitely say that I am the only one holding myself back.
Mm.
So before, as a teacher, I would say like, this is happening and so I can't do this. This is happening, so I can't do this. But now I own my own business. Well, I can do what I want. And not in like a bad way, but in like the best way. So I am the only one holding myself back. If I choose not to do something, or if fear takes over and you get kind of paralyzed in fear sometimes and you don't go for that ask, or you don't send that email, that's just on me. And so that's what I love about it. But that's also what entrepreneurship has taught me, is that sometimes I have to ignore myself and just go for it.
Push through it.
Mm-hmm.
So in closing, Kelly, if you think over your life and career and you had the chance to thank only one person whose support was critical to you personally or professionally, who would that be and what would you say?
Oh my gosh. Can I have a tie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, you may, because you are the email master.
Okay, great. So my husband and my mom, for sure. So my mom and my husband, both from the beginning of this, were like, you can do it. It was never like you better stick with that. You got a pension, or, oh, what about this? Or what? It was always like, you can do that. You could totally do that. You have the personality. You have this. You can do that. You have the creativity. And even my first year of business alone, like the first year after I quit, was really hard. The second year, I was so busy. My mom worked for me for free. So my mom was retired and came over every day and worked like 2 or 3 hours for me for free for a whole year until I could hire Chrissy. And then my husband, oh my gosh, I mean, he is, do you got to work tonight? Do you need me to do anything? I mean, he's helping me. We just had like an order of 1,200 wooden bookmarks. And he's like, do you need help with those? Do you need me to run some boards? Like, I was out of town this weekend. We took my older son to his first college visit, to your sniff. And my husband's like, what do you need me to do? Set it up. I'll run the board. I'll change the wood. Like, I mean, he was all over it. It's just amazing. Both of them have just been amazing. I wouldn't have been able to do it without them.
Beautiful. I love it. And your best friend now works with you.
That's right. Isn't that cool?
Fair. Very good.
I know.
You created this. This is amazing.
Yeah.
So now tell us, what are the ways that we can support you? I'll have links to all the great things that you mentioned, but tell everyone your website, where they can find you, or anything you want us to know.
Yeah. Come get some stamps. We're at helloworldpaperco.com. You can find us on Etsy at Hello World Stamps. Our name's different over there. Long story. And then podcast is Creative Biz Rebellion. You can find that at creativebizrebellion.com. And I'm on Instagram and all the stuff at Hello World Paper Co. and at Creative Biz Rebellion.
Great. Thank you so much, Kelly. This was very fun for me. Hopefully it was for you too. Thank you for sharing.
God, yes. Now we're besties. So.
Now we're besties. I'll tell you how the email thing goes. So yeah.
Please keep me posted. Yes.
I will.
Thank you.
Before you go, what's a parting piece of advice from you to our listeners about anything?
Well, if you want to see growth in your business, the 3 things that I say: perseverance, work really hard, and ask for help if you need it. That is key. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody.
All right. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Kelly as much as I did. And listen, as she said, ask for help. We're all about it around here, right? Support is sexy. You have to get support. You do not have to do it alone. Now, to find out more about Kelly, to find out more about Hello World Paper Company, to find out all the tips and links and anything that she mentioned in this episode, especially about her Etsy course, make sure you just go to supportissexypodcast.com, go to that search icon at the top, and just search Kelly, Kelly. Her show notes page will pop up with those links, resources, and the ways to get in touch with her. supportissexypodcast.com and just search Kelly. Thank you so much for listening. I truly, truly appreciate you. Make sure that you and I are connected on social media at Elayne Fluker at Support is Sexy. If you're listening to this episode while on your phone, make sure you screenshot it. Show me in Instagram stories. I love to hear from you. All right, so thank you again for being here. And until we chat next time, always remember, support is sexy, and having it all doesn't mean doing it all alone. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.